So finally we are here.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how hard is it to find 1 hour together? I mean, in person, I think. It's easy to find time on Zoom.
Yeah, so, okay, we are here now. We have found the 1 hour of time. And we have started to the podcast. How are you feeling about it?
Feeling good. I mean, this mic feels a bit bizarre, but...
Is this your first episode or like first podcast?
This is the first time anybody has asked me to share my wisdom with the world. So yeah, first time.
It's funny how you always say it's funny. So
did I just say that already?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I was like...
But you did in the morning.
Yeah.
Like just when we met here. So I don't have like very specific questions to ask you. I just want this to be a conversation like always. And the thing why I wanted to do the episode with you is because you have so much to give, even though sometimes you don't admit it to either me or yourself. So I think it's a good idea for at least other people to see your knowledge, your experience, and then the way you, I guess, communicate and express yourself. So that's why we are here. Basically, you've been my, let's say, trainer, kind of mentor, but also a friend. And I appreciate someone in Qualtrics being there for me the way you are here for me. So yeah, that's it. What do you say about this?
I feel like your introduction is very kind. I'm glad that like I've had an impact though on your first couple of weeks or even first couple of months here. I mean, this is usually what happens, as in people need me a lot at the start and then they don't need me so much after that, which is absolutely fine. I think that's the way it is with enablement, right? You're nervous and you want to learn a lot at the beginning and then you find your own feet. So for me, success is to see people not need me so much and flourish and be successful when the training wheels are off, so to speak. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason, at least for me, I just want to keep the connection with you is because you are really able to understand a person in the way they are. So I even tell my friends about this, about the training that Qualtrics, and by Qualtrics in this case I mean you, the training I received from you was so personal. You just, at least like in my case, you just knew what I needed, what I knew, what I didn't know, and personalized the examples you were giving me. So in this case, if you remember, you gave the example of if you want me to travel somewhere, like if you're an agency or something, and I wanted to go travel, and I came in this case to you, how would you find out to which place I would be desirable to go? I didn't phrase that as well as you did, but for example, like an example like that just made me think like, okay, now I got the role, now I know what I need to do, and now I understand why we have to ask so many questions, and then we have to ask why they give these answers in the first place, and just really understand their perspective to be able to know which destination they want to go to. So if it's cold weather or warm weather, why cold weather? And then like go into more specific parts, let's say. So yeah, it's been a phenomenal experience so far. And each time I didn't quite understand a thing during the internal qualified meetings or the medic stuff, I always reach out to you because I feel like you don't judge. You know what's missing, and you just know how to get to people. So in this case, me. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, people, it just feels sometimes like people overcomplicate things. Like I've probably said this to you before, like it's literally a conversation and we're just trying to find out information. And so I don't like to give the questions, which sometimes feels a little bit unfair, I'm sure. But you are an intelligent human being. Like you can come up with the questions yourself if you know what it is that you're trying to find out. And I find with people who've come before you, if we simply provide the questions, then people will ask those questions, which is great, but they don't know why they're asking them. And if you don't know why you're asking something, how do you know when you have the answer that you need? And so that's why when we just give people the questions to ask, they ask the question and then they write down whatever the answer was. But if what you've just said there about like asking why, digging deeper and really trying to understand it, you only have the ability to do that when you know what you're looking for and why you're asking it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I give those real kind of like real life examples, like let's move this away from business. You're brand new to Qualtrics. You don't have that much experience in the world of work, but everybody knows what it's like to want to go on holiday. You know, there's everyday examples that everybody knows what that's like. So I think just making it less complicated and more relatable makes it easier to grasp. And I think that's exactly what you've said, like that achieved. So I'm glad to hear that. But I also think that you're giving me way too many compliments without recognizing that you yourself, you're also curious and you're interested to learn, and you're willing to acknowledge that you're either wrong about something or that you don't understand something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back and ask me the questions to help you clarify that, which makes it really easy for me. There's sometimes people who are a little bit nervous to say that they don't know or they don't understand. And that's the situation where people can develop, not bad habits, but can develop a process that won't lead them to success as easily.
Mm-hmm.
But if I never see them in action and they never ask questions, this can go on for like weeks and months. And then it's harder to break a habit than it is to create a new habit. So I prefer that you just ask the questions and say, what are you talking about? I don't get this. Explain it again.
Mm-hmm.
That also makes my job easier.
Yeah, I think in this aspect we make a great team, because I know what to ask and you know what, like in which way to answer, and then it's a great relationship so far. And then apart from being like trainer, trainee, or mentor, mentee, or I don't know, manager to new hire, it's also more of a friendship, because I know some stuff about you, like that you want to do maybe like a side hustle, or that you want to not want to write a book, but you've been thinking about it.
No, you said I should write a book. I never said I was going to write a book.
But you said, I think you said that it was like, I was thinking about it, but I don't know.
I think everybody has a great book in them. I don't know, like the same thing I said about this podcast. I don't know if I have anything important to say. I don't think I do now, but never say never.
Yeah. Also, you're very active on LinkedIn, and the posts you share are like out of quality. So all of these things, when I at least combine them in my thoughts, in my opinion, I think this human being would make something great if she does the things that is in her head. So being humble is one thing, but then also knowing what you are great at. And I have to be honest about this. Like, my whole Qualtrics experience was nice, but then there are a few key people who really made my experience a great employee experience. When I started like interviewing, it was Gwendolyn, my HR. And then here there are a few other people that make it a great experience, including you.
Who else?
Just at the top of my head, Timothy, for example. I took over his role, and I believe if he wasn't there for me to be able to shadow him, for me able to ask him really stupid questions as well, then I would have a much more difficult time. So Timothy is also really understanding, really patient sometimes, and he just knows what he is doing.
Yeah.
I shadowed most of the team's IQMs, including those whose language I didn't understand. So I joined Lydia's as well. So she was French speak. It was a French speaking IQM, but I just wanted to see what's her energy like during an IQM. So I shadowed everyone, and Timothy, he's really good at the job he's doing.
Yeah,
so I feel like I've learned a lot from him. I feel like I've learned a lot from you. I've met a lot of people outside my departments as well. So I'm just trying to pick something up from everybody. And your stuff, like the way you're able to get to people, is on point, I would say.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that, but I think it's just because I've done the job. I don't think that there's no substitute for experience.
But I don't think so you didn't start as the enablement leader or something at Qualtrics.
No, I started as an SDR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being at the position you are now, I don't think that is a coincidence. Do you think so? Because you literally created a new position in this company.
No, there was someone who was in this role before me, and I suppose everybody has their own take on things. So I guess the way I do things are different than the way people have done them before. But in terms of the actual role existing, it existed. Someone was in the role before me. They were very successful. They kind of like you talking about Timothy. They played an important hand in, first of all, giving me this opportunity or making me aware of the opportunity by actually recommending me and then letting me know that the position was available, but also in that handover process. So again, those early couple of weeks of new on the job experience, shadowing and all of that kind of thing. So I don't think it's a coincidence though, for me, just in terms of what I'm interested in, because you just get energy from certain things. There's always things in a job that you have to do that you don't want to do, and then there's things in jobs and in life that just give you energy, I think. And subconsciously, through all of the jobs I've had, I've been drawn to the opportunity to interact with people and to be helpful where I can. And then this role is just a nice combination of knowing about being an SDR, because I was one, and then also now being able to lean into that area where I'm actually being paid to have conversations that I enjoy. So yeah, I do. I feel very lucky in that regard, but it wasn't really, I didn't plan to be in this position so early in my career. I planned to, get a lot more experience in sales and then maybe circle back to an enablement role or something like this in like 10 or 15 years. So
in terms of I don't know, teaching people or like make them understand their role and then try to improve the quality of the meetings that they do, what do you think are some key things of you? Like what do you think that makes you, at least in my eyes, so good? I have a few, but
I can't handle all this. You're showering me with compliments,
yeah,
which makes me uncomfortable. Why? I learn in a certain way, and I need to understand things. So if there's 100% of information available, I prefer to have 70, 80, 90% of the information that's available, even if I only actually need like 10 or 15% to do the thing I need to do, to answer the question or do the presentation or whatever. So when I'm in a teaching capacity, I just really want to see that people understand. I don't want you to just smile and nod and say that was a great training, and I can see that you don't get it. So I think like maybe it's just like my pursuit to make sure people fully understand, because I need to fully understand. If I don't fully understand something, I can't use it and apply it. So I think selfishly I just push upon everybody that I interact with the thing that I need when I'm learning.
Simplifying difficult things is a skill, I would say, and you simplify things. Yeah, okay, I'm too much complimenting right now, but I just wanted to get this on the record because I really think highly of you and the position you are in, and then the way at least you are able to enable me in my position. So I remember that during one of my meetings, you read the notes of the good one, let's say. So I had this very good meeting, which a bunch of details in the notes, maybe even excessive notes. But what I really appreciate, and I'm also in the same way, like if I don't understand something 100%, if it's only 95%, I'm just still looking for that 5% of the missing details to be able to be like, okay, now I know, or now I understand, or now I would be able to express myself fully confidently.
Yeah.
So you're just you when you read the notes, you were like, okay, it's all very good, it's amazing, especially maybe for the first month, but then to one little thing, you're saying like, okay, I understand this, but why? And I think that's quite interesting because I would say most of the managers, maybe most of the mentors, most of the people would be like, holy shit, it's your first month and you've already had these kind of notes. But you also said that, but then there's another part of, okay, these are great, but then I see here a learning point for you, and you just point that out. And that's something what I'm really looking for in a mentor, in a, I don't know, manager, in a person that's going to be able to teach me. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important actually, because I'm aware that I may be overly critical, because like it was your first month. The notes were very good. I'm glad at least that I did say all those things. At least you say I said them, so I presume I did. But my brain does tend to zone in on the learning point, because I don't necessarily know how to be. I don't know how to strive to be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just know how to do the best that I can do. And so that's what I want for everybody else. So even though maybe your notes were way better than what we would expect for someone in their first month, but they could still be better.
Mm-hmm.
And even if someone was 10 paces behind you, of course, I wouldn't have given them the same learning point, but I would definitely have given them a learning point. And I just think that that's true in life. There's always something that you can learn. So I think that, like, you know, praise and congratulations and all of that is very important for people. But I don't want to give you the impression that you're in your first month and you have it all figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's going to be a lot of learning in the next, 2 years in this program and, over your entire career. But I do sometimes have to remind myself to do the well done, congratulations, you're amazing piece first, and then give the learning point.
Yeah, I would say you're a real person in this aspect. Maybe even so real that in the beginning, please forgive me, that I was like, okay, Catherine, she's a bit, I don't know, harsh or aggressive. Like in those first 2 days, I was like, okay, because you're a real person, you don't not like I don't know how to put this, but you don't sugarcoat things. You just to the point, direct. If you see something wrong, and then I'm not used to that, so I was like, okay, this can be a bit difficult, let's say. But then 2 days later, 48 hours passed, and I was like, holy shit, this person thinks the exact same way I think. This is the person that's going to be able to teach me so much. This is the person that's not going to sugarcoat things. Because I always ask for feedback. Like, okay, not always, but if I think I could have a learning point, I'm just asking for it. Like, I ask from Johnny, I ask from Dan, I ask from Josh. I even ask my HR, like, hey, we did the interview, but what do you think in your notes? What could be better? Stuff like that. And I received answers, but some were not like, please just come with me with the harsh things. Let's just go and just tell me them. And I'm really looking forward to that. And you are giving that. Maybe some people don't like it, being so, I don't know, clear and transparent and direct. But I think the transparency part of the things, I think that's really important, not only to do your job well or anything, but also to be able to understand another person, to be able to understand you. Because if you don't sugarcoat things to other people, I believe you are also not sugarcoating things to yourself. So in a lot of things we are similar, but just now I'm thinking like, hey, I am trying to write my own book, or hey, I am trying to do stuff on LinkedIn, or hey, I am trying to do a side hustle. So there are a lot of things that I'm trying, but just now I'm thinking like, maybe I'm sugarcoating things to myself. Maybe I should take a deep breath first, see if I am really able to do all those things, and then just be direct with it. Yeah, I hope you understand.
I do, but I think it's interesting because, like, just to go back to the first point. So yes, I am overly direct, like maybe painfully direct, and that's the natural part of my personality. So the other part is toning that down a little bit. But I don't really believe in not being your true authentic self. But at the same time, I don't think that you should be so unapologetically yourself that it's offensive and abrasive to other people. And just like you described, I think when you get to know me, you know that, like, being direct and honest and not sugarcoating things genuinely comes from a good place. So then I don't think, hopefully it doesn't feel offensive, but I can definitely understand in the beginning how that can be a little bit abrupt. However, what you've just said about not sugarcoating things for yourself, to start questioning what you're doing, I don't agree with that, because I also think that execution is more important than perfection. And what I mean by that is, if you waited until you were 100% sure about everything, then you would never do anything. So even though I think that you can try new things, do all of the things that you're doing, the non-sugarcoat part is to be aware that maybe the way that you're doing it now isn't perfect. And if you keep doing it in 6 months or in a year, you'll be doing it better. But that you're using that to fuel your motivation to keep doing things, as opposed to thinking, maybe I'm sugarcoating everything, I should just stop doing things, and yeah, then you'll never achieve anything in your life. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's also interesting, like, that you are overly complimentary, and that's the first time that you have ever given me any. It wasn't even constructive feedback. It was honest feedback, though. Honest feedback that wasn't particularly positive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't take offense to that, because, like what you said, I'm always looking for opportunities to improve and to grow. And although, like, when you give me a compliment, like, I roll my eyes and I joke, I appreciate when people say nice things, of course, but you don't grow from compliments.
True.
Like, you've said a lot of nice things even in the last 20 minutes, but the thing that I'm going to remember about this conversation is that you said that, you know, I came across a little bit abrasive when we met first. So that's something that I can take on, learn from, and continue to grow and develop with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that you value that in people, but you don't really, like, you don't bring it forward for other people as much as maybe they would appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the reason of that is because, first of all, my mind has completely changed. So it's not a thing to rush to say, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
If it was for a longer period of time that I thought, like, hey, Catherine, maybe you are too direct, or this is a point, at least for me as a new hire, maybe to take a different direction
Mm-hmm.
to, let's say, I would point it out. But I just understood that I misunderstood your original, like, character, let's say. So that's the reason I didn't point it out in the beginning. And the reason why I'm giving so many compliments in the first 10 minutes, let's say, is I just want to really understand how highly I think of you, and then start the conversation, because it is true, it is honest, it is all of the things above.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of course, like anybody, there are a lot of learning points for you as well, and I'm not talking about being harsh in the beginning or something, but maybe a learning point for you could be just start as well. You know, execution is more important than perfection.
Using my own quote on me.
Yeah, because I do see something. Like if you would write something, I would read it. Like, I read every LinkedIn post. I'm really curious about the posts you put up there. I'm answering them. I'm seeing what other people answers. And what I do in difference with you is I post almost every day. I'm expressing my own story, my own opinions, my own experiences when I moved to Dublin, when I started with Qualtrics, and I just want people to understand that, yeah, I am in Dublin, and apart from Turkey, I'm making money now, I'm learning from great people, I'm in an environment where most of the people, I don't know, can't even imagine, like the fifth floor, the rooftop views. Sometimes I bring my friends here. Please don't say this to anybody. But sometimes I bring my friends here and they are like, I'm so glad a Turkish person is here now. Like, I'm feeling proud. But what you do in difference to me is instead of posting every day, you post quality, which I really appreciate, because I know when I see Catherine Lynam on my feed, it's worthy of reading. And not only on your LinkedIn, I think in my every conversation with you, it's like, it's a conversation worthy of having, because it's always quality. And when I said like you should write a book or at least do something, it's because this quality is something I would say a lot of people would also see or also feel. And regarding of the quality, you are just able to give maybe your understanding, maybe your calmness, maybe your knowledge, just all of the things above, which would make a good learning point for people outside of your LinkedIn, for people outside of the company. Yeah.
Watch this space, Esad. Watch this space. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, apart from that, maybe some asking some in-depth questions would be a good idea. I'm not too I asked Donica this. What do you think would be a good question for me to ask you? And what I mean by this is because I just started my like career. I'm fairly new to the whole environment. Maybe I understand your position, but maybe I don't understand it fully. Maybe I don't understand you fully. So you as a professional, you as someone who has a lot of more years of experience.
Not that many more.
At least quite a few, let's say. What would you think of something that I wouldn't be able to think of in a question term, if that makes sense? So maybe like for the viewers, it doesn't have to be a question per se, but maybe some knowledge, something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this question wouldn't come to your mind, but I just think that you could save yourself a lot of time and effort if you knew the answer now, rather than when you're a couple more years down the line, which is just, I would just think to myself, like, what do I wish I knew when I was in the position that you're in now, which is like right at the beginning. And I do think that I'll give you the answer, but a lot of the answer you're already doing, which is good, because that means that you're already ahead of where I was when I was in your position. But if I think about what do I wish I knew, what do I wish I knew then that I know now, is that relationships are really important. And like almost everything, it's about consistency. It's not about booking in 2 hours with me at the very beginning to get to know me really well and then never speaking to me again. It's just little and often. And you don't necessarily know at the beginning why those relationships are going to be important. But after a few years in this company, and also I've obviously had roles in previous companies, and I'm still in contact with people from those companies, some of them. So you don't need to know what the outcome will be. You just need to do the right thing, be a genuine person, make connections with the people that you feel like you have something in common with. Obviously be polite and cordial with everybody else. But then over the course of your career, you're going to collect up some people whose opinions you're going to respect and who are going to be able to be, helpful and valuable to you throughout your career. And also you'll be able to do that for them. Because I think when I joined, I just thought like, cool, this is a fun job, but I didn't have a long-term view on what we were trying to achieve. The other thing is I always tell people that I really struggled when I started as an SDR. Like I did find it really difficult, and I don't say that to make people feel better. I mean, that's just the truth. I remember at one point thinking like they might have to fire me because I'm going to fail so badly, but like I'm not going to quit. And everything always works out. That's the thing that like I've realized in this role, at least, or in this company. Like I did always manage to scrape by. I did manage to pass my probation. I did eventually figure out this SDR thing and become successful in it. So I think just, I suppose, trusting in the process a little bit and believing that even when it feels hard and it feels like we're not being successful, that's just a small blip in a much longer journey. And I'm just talking about like a couple of years in a one specific company. So then imagine expanding that out to your entire life. Like imagine how insignificant one bad year would be in your life if you live for like 85 years. You probably will barely remember that year. But in the moment, a year of terrible times feels really terrible. And I think the other thing as well is probably don't have tunnel vision. Like I didn't really anticipate my career going in this direction. I'm happy that I did, but I was like totally, fully and completely on the sales track. And I think maybe when I started, instead of just being like so laser focused, maybe I should have been keeping my eyes open for other opportunities, just so that I had the full scope of what was possible, and then I could make the most informed decision that I could make.
So two really good keys to take away from here is, one, have good relationships with, I guess, anybody, and then second is don't have a tunnel vision, but keep it broad, so you will be able to flexibly go the way the world shows, I guess. It's laid out in front of you.
Yeah.
I would say on the broad vision stuff, I do have that because until now I didn't really know. Even still, like I don't really know where I'm heading to, so I'm just trying a bunch of things out, like LinkedIn, books, stuff like that. On the other part, so in this case, I think I'm not having a problem. But on the relationships part, I think that's quite a challenge for me, at least. And I'm not only talking about having good relationships with the account executives, having good relationships with employees, with people from other departments, but like maybe I have more networking skills than most of the people, but I'm finding it quite hard to maintain long, healthy, good relationships. And then I mean this in, I guess, work, but as well as personal life. And do you have any recommendations or advice in that aspect? Because like I said, I think you're quite good in these things, but yeah.
I mean, well, I think from a work perspective, at least, like you're not here long enough to know if you have any long-term valuable relationships yet. But I think to your point, like your networking skills are very good. I mean, I'm here, aren't I? And I know that you have a lot of other connections. And when I say connections, I mean like actual personal connections with people in the company already, not just LinkedIn connections, which are when you don't even know the people and you just click the button, right? I mean actual connections. So I think that it's too early for you to make a statement like that, at least in relation to this company and the relationships that you're building here. But I do think that can be a challenge. I haven't figured this out. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert, but I would just say in terms of work, probably the thing that I would recommend is continuing to lead with value. And sometimes that sounds like everything is about the other person and you don't get anything from it. But in every single situation, there's some benefit for everybody involved.
I like that.
But if you position your benefit, then it doesn't appeal to me as much. So when we talk about the relationship with the AE, if you say, I would love to have 15 minutes of your time because I think I found a really valuable opportunity for you. And I know that you're very experienced, so I really want to get your opinion on how I should proceed, right? You're giving them, the opportunity to help, which people usually, especially in this environment, people are always willing to help. And then secondly, you're also pitching to them that you have something that could potentially help them to make money. Whereas if you ask for that same meeting by saying, I'm really confused, I'm really struggling, I want to be the best SDR ever, and I don't know what to do. Now, you are still giving them the opportunity to help, so most likely they will still say yes, but you're positioning it in a way that's valuable to you. You need help, you want to be better, this is important for your target, you. So it's the same situation, but it depends on how you position it. And I think leading with value can also be proactive. Like if you see something that you think that I would be interested in, whether it's like a LinkedIn post or I don't know, you can take that and send it to me and say, I thought you'd be interested in this. Because that just creates so much goodwill. And then it makes me want to reciprocate that. So I think, Esad sent me that really valuable article last week. And now I see this thing that I think he'll be interested in. So I'm going to send that to him. And it's that little and often back and forth consistency. I think that's what builds the relationship at work. Personal life. This is how I just think that in life, we go through life. We meet a lot of people along the way. Some people we can connect with quite deeply. And I mean that in terms of like having similar interests or similar values or whatever the case may be. And those, you normally keep those people. Like, so I have friends from like previous jobs. I worked with like 10, 20, 30 people and I only stay in contact with like 2, 3 or 4 of those people. So I enjoyed knowing the other people while I was there. But as we move on, only some people stick. And I think that's okay. I think that's just a testament to finding your people. Like when you add up all those people at the end of your life or whatever, hopefully you're not going to have friends that you actually don't like. You're only going to have friends and people in your life that you actually are happy to spend time with. So I always think like if someone invited me for dinner, when I go, I have to go for dinner on Friday, or I go, I can't wait, I'm going for dinner with this person on Friday. Try to keep the second type of people and less of the first type of people.
I think leading with value is a really nice phrase, and the moment you said that, I was smiling and laughing, and like maybe you could even see the joy in my eyes, because that's the way I think all people should be. Because if you lead with value, if I lead with value, if everybody else here leads with value, it's gonna only get better. I mean, a better workplace, a better, I don't know, office, a better world in the end. And I'm just not too sure about this. So leading with value, it's great, it's excellent, it's, like I said, the way I think it's supposed to be. But could this sometimes be too much in life, in work? Like if every relationship is only built on leading with value, then are we going to be able to have fun, let's say?
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so when I look at my friends, every friend I have gives me some value and I give them some value. And by this I mean, like, I have a friend in Dubai who works. Maybe I will visit her in Dubai one time and we have this really great connection of able to understand each other. So she moved to Dubai recently, I moved to Dublin recently, and we understand each other in terms of like relocating to somewhere else and the difficulties that come with it. Then I have another friend in Poland, I have friends in Turkey, and we all are able to understand each other in some aspects, and then we all are able to give each other some values. But sometimes I'm feeling like I haven't been able to balance out those kinds. So if I'm only looking at people that can give me value, maybe I'm missing the people that can give me fun. Or
okay, I don't think that we should look for people who can give us value. I think that we should seek out opportunities to add value to everybody that's around us. And I say everybody because I mean, I don't think that we should only look for people that we can add value to. And I do think that leading with value is more of a work colleague, client relationship type advice. But I think that the value is more underlying in personal relationships, because like you just said, I have friends in Dubai, I have friends in Poland, I have friends in Turkey, and each of us give value and you receive some value from them. That's the whole basis of friendship. Like, why would you be friends with someone if you're... It sounds kind of selfish to say, but why would you be friends with someone if you're getting nothing from them? And I mean getting nothing, as in no joy, no support, no happiness. Like, even if it's the friend that gives you the really harsh advice that's hard to take, that's kind of sounds mean, but then you're getting no honesty. So I think with all relationships in life, you have to look at it and say, like, why am I allowing this to take up space in my life? And I think though, but so, like, we haven't, I'm sure you haven't thought about that, but what I'm saying is subconsciously everybody is giving us something and we are giving them something, right? We don't have to think about it so transactionally. So to say, like, if we focus too much on value, then where is the fun? Sometimes the value is the fun. Like, the value of your friend that lives down the road is that he's always available to go for drinks on a Friday night, and that's something that you really enjoy. So the value is the fun in that situation. I'm sure you have it, like, I have different friends I go to for different reasons. I have a friend who I go to who's always going to be able to give me a funny, sarcastic comment, a lighthearted conversation. So when I just feel like I want to laugh, like, they're the people I go to. I have other people who are always prone to, like, a deep and meaningful conversation. So when that's something that I feel like I want, I go to them, those people. When I want advice, there's certain people that I go to. That's all subconscious. But does that mean that I can't have fun with my friend who gives me advice? No, sometimes we just go out and we have a good time. See what I mean? So I don't think it's like, if you have value, you don't get anything else. I think value can be so many different things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Catherine, I want to thank you for your mind, for the conversation, for everything here. So it's been a great conversation so far. I'm really looking forward to the next episode.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. This has been fun.